at that stage, my mum wasn't, like, she had underlying health issues, but she wasn't, um, I guess, hugely unwell like she was towards the end. So, unfortunately, when I ended up getting locked up, having to get out of the territory without effectively anything besides the glass-filled clothes I got locked up with. And then I ended up on the side of the road at a rest area with some other freedom fighters that were on the convoy. A few of them were lovely that as soon as they heard what happened, they actually even never met me. They stayed back to make sure that someone was there when I got out. So there was a few people that picked me up. Had about an hour and 45 minutes, hour and a half, something like that, to get out. Went back to this rest area, waited for I don't know how long. I'm gonna just stab in the dark, maybe about 10 days before I got a court order to get my wallet and a few of my personal possessions out of my truck.
Freedom people helped you in those 10 days.
Yeah, I ended up with a donated tent, and obviously, as everyone knows, there was a fair bit of donated food from everybody around Australia that sent donations down. So yeah, but we were in this 72-hour rest area. Yeah, just intense, and then ended up eventually getting a court order to get some of my personal possessions. So caught a ride to do that. Grabbed them. Then I got a ride, hitchhiked, whatever, with other convoy to Canberra people. And we ended up, because of then, of course, just when it rains, it pours, literally, around all the floods here. So they were originally going to drop me off at my brother's because he was probably the best candidate. Now I've got no truck, business, homeless, because at one stage I was living in the vehicle. So he was the best candidate in Gold Coast. So plan was to go up there, but then we had all those floods. So then we ended up going right around and had to get back due to the people I was catching a ride with. Ended up with some things on, so then ended up Rockhampton direction, and I helped them pack up and ready for their sale of their house, and then over time made my way back down to Gold Coast. That all took a few months. It's time just goes so fast, especially when you're involved in legal things. But yeah, then I guess just got so caught up in the whole legal side of things, and also, it has been very hard, and there are times where you just, feel like you need, a week of just alone time to kind of process stuff, deal with stuff, and I guess I then ended up travelling back down on my motorbike to Sydney, Melbourne direction to catch up with people like yourself, to help create awareness of my story. Not only because the system needs to change, but trying to raise some funds for legal reasons. I then stayed with many lovely people down there, and I can tell you now that most of the people that put me up and put their hand up were the people that you then, living in their backyard or under their roof, you go, they have enough stuff going on themselves and they're struggling themselves, you know, but yet they're the ones putting their hands up, you know, helping others, putting others first. It was just amazing. And then I multiple court hearings with video link, and I was getting some assistance with some people along the way that had some bits of experience, more so than myself. And unfortunately, I then got a phone call from my brother about 15 minutes after a court hearing, video link, and saying that mum had ended up in hospital, and things weren't going well, and basically you need to come down straight away. So I think it was about 2-3 o'clock that I went. Just hopped on my bike. Didn't even get a chance to say see you and thank Catherine Cummings for having me there. Just jumped on the bike and left to South Australia. Think somewhere, either the first servo or something, I just messaged her and said, "Oh, sorry, mum's not well, I've got to go." But I think I got there about midnight something in South Australia, and then midnight, 1 o'clock, depending on, I think there's a bit of time zone difference depending if I'd reset my clock or not. And then next morning went in there and things weren't very good. What I failed to realise, and you kind of start putting two together, and afterwards, and even many months after, you start thinking of things and just realising, that things certainly could have been handled differently in the system.
Regarding your mother?
Yes, she ended up contracting from memory, from as far as I know, a fungal infection and a bit of a staph infection, and why she was in hospital. And then people that the system classes as too hard basket, they will then seem to follow a mindset of not tend to keep up with their intakes and extakes, so like monitoring stuff and so on. And I guess just I feel like that as soon as people then don't have the fluids, don't have the nutrition, they just go downhill suddenly, and then it's pretty much game over. So if you're not in there every hour of the day and basically doing it all yourself effectively, like, it's, all I can say is good luck if you rely on the system to keep your best interest at heart.
Was she conscious when you got there? Were you able to talk to her?
So, my feeling is now that she was most likely on so many medications or so much medication or whatever, however you say it, that it was basically making her pretty docile. And you realize you realize more afterwards, you kind of have this feeling, but you don't want to believe it. You want to believe the system is there to help you, but I guess you find out the hard way. So like from my recollection, when I went in there, having not seen her for basically 2 years ish due to COVID lockdowns and all, the fact that I think we can all fairly say that it doesn't seem like COVID was 3 coming up 4 years ago. Time's just gone. I feel like, that I just totally missed a bit there with my mind. So basically I came in and I was expecting her to go, like eyes open wide, be excited to see me walk in the room, not seeing me for 2 years. And like our family's always been relatively close together, so when you walk in there and you feel like there's no acknowledgement at all that you exist in that room, I can't think of any word that comes to mind besides one you might have to bleep. It just is totally fucked.